Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video, we are going to be talking about this absolutely beautiful philodendron called as Philodendron Lemon Lime. Yes, there is another philodendron which has a very similar name, which is the heart shape of a philodendron, which is also called as lemon lime, but this is another variety. This one is going to have a very different shape of leaves, and the one that I'm talking about, which is also called as lemon lime, I'll put it up on the screen, which has a heart leaf and tends to have a very different shape of leaves. Now initially I was a little bit confused about this plant because the seller did say that it is philodendron lemon lime, but it kind of resembled a lot like our philodendron golden melony. But then I noticed that this particular plant has a epiphytic behavior, and the leaves also started to look a lot different once it started to grow. Now whether it is the golden melony or the lemon lime, both of them have the same care requirements. So let's talk about this plant, starting off with soil. Now philodendrons prefer a very loose, porous, well-draining soil mix, yet which retains a slight amount of moisture. Philodendrons do not like their soil to be very compact. They do not like to be sitting in dry soil. They are not drought tolerant. They will immediately start to drop their leaves if the soil is dry for a longer period of time. So the soil mix that I've used over here is a mix of coco peat, garden soil, sand and perlite. All of this is a combination. Coco peat is going to help retain slight amount of moisture. Garden soil is going to give the natural nutrients and minerals to the plant. Sand and perlite is going to make the soil mix well draining, loose, airy. So all of this combination is going to work out really well for your philodendron. Now talking about watering, whenever you see around 1 to 2 inches of the upper layer of soil is dry, go ahead and do a complete watering until the water starts passing through the drain hole. As I said, they do not like to be sitting in dry soil. You have to ensure there is a slight amount of moisture but not soggy wet soil. That's why we need to have a drain hole so that the excess water can drain out. If the water tends to pool into the pot, then of course the plant will have a root rot, so you have to be extremely careful. Now talking about light, this is very important. Please do not expose your philodendrons to direct sunlight. The leaves will get burnt. They are only meant to be kept in a place where there is a lot of indirect bright light with a good amount of intensity. Even if you're growing them indoor, ensure you're keeping them closer to the windowsill where there's a lot of indirect bright light. Or if you're using a grow light, do not keep the grow light just above it. Probably you can just keep them a little bit closer but not right under the grow light, because the leaves will get burned. Of course you will get the signs. If you're not very sure and if you have kept the light too close, you will notice bleaching of the leaves, or you'll notice burn marks. So immediately move your plant aside. Talking about propagation, it is very simple to propagate. As I said, this particular plant tends to display the epiphytic behavior. I'm not very sure if it will be visible over here. You can see this is how it starts to grow. Eventually it will start to grow vertically, so we would require a pole or a stick in order to balance the plant. Of course you can go with a sphagnum moss pole or a coir rope pole. The roots will attach itself and start to grow on it. So this is an epiphytic plant, basically a climber. Now talking about pest issues, yes, this plant does get affected with mealybugs as well as spider mites. So always turn the leaves around and check underneath the leaves, because this is where you'll find spider mites. Mealybugs will usually be on the stem area, or the place where the stem is connecting to or the petiole is connecting to the leaf. That's where you'll usually find the mealybugs. The moment you notice anything, just use your neem oil spray and eliminate them at the early stage. Do not let them reach to an infestation stage, because then it becomes really difficult to get rid of pest. Now talking about, is this plant toxic? Yes, philodendrons are toxic, especially if the leaves are ingested. Even if you tend to do a propagation, there could be sap. So if you have sensitive skin, please ensure that you're using gloves, because the sap can irritate your skin, and if the leaves are ingested, it can be even more dangerous. So ensure you're keeping this plant away from the reach of small children and pets. Now Talking about temperature, these plants tend to belong to a tropical environment. They prefer a little bit of warm environment. They are not frost hardy plants. They're more of a tropical environment plants, so they require a good amount of warmth as well as a good amount of humidity. Average humidity anywhere between 60 to 70% is going to work out really well for philodendrons. They don't need a humidifier specifically for them. They can do quite well in average humidity as well. The ideal temperatures for them is between 15 degrees Celsius up to 34, 35. If it's a mature plant, it can even handle higher temperatures. So that's about it, guys. It's a pretty easy to grow plant, very low maintenance. This plant, as and when it starts to mature, the leaves can get even more lighter than this, more on the light yellow. The new leaves will come out a little bit green, but as and when the leaves tend to mature, they're going to turn slightly yellow in color. Kind of resembles like a plant that is getting affected with overwatering, but that's the color of this plant. It usually gets really yellow leaves. So guys, that's about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.